In this video, I'll be revealing the patterns I discovered after analyzing more than 100 Canadians who successfully retired before age 60, and the 3 systems that made the difference between success and failure. Through studying early retirees across Canada, I've discovered that the ones who made it work didn't just have big portfolios. They had intentional systems that focused more on income structure than account balances. That's exactly why I'm making this video today, to show you the proven formula that successful Canadian early retirees follow and how you can implement these same strategies. Let's get right into it. When most people think about early retirement, they focus on hitting a big number, 1 million, 2, 3, whatever the magic figure is in their mind. But after analyzing more than 100 Canadians who actually retired before 60, that number wasn't what determined success. It was how they structured their income. The retirees who made early retirement work all had one thing in common. They built a predictable cash flow system before they left their careers. They didn't just save, they designed how they'd get paid once the paycheck stopped. For some, that meant creating a total return portfolio with systematic withdrawals, often using a dynamic or guardrails-based approach that adjusted income as markets changed. Others leaned more towards an income protection style where they matched their essential spending needs with guaranteed income. Sources like pensions, annuities, CPP, and OAS. That foundation gave them the confidence to spend on the fun things, travel, hobbies, time with family, without worrying about running out of money. Some people layered in part-time work they actually enjoyed, not because they had to, but because it had a meaning and covered basic expenses. And yes, a few used rental real estate income as part of their baseline, giving them predictable cash flow they could count on. The common thread across all of them was this. They built a sustainable funding system, not a guessing game. And that structure makes all the difference. Here's what that system does. It turns a pile of savings into a steady, predictable retirement paycheck. It moves the anxiety that forces many early retirees back to work. It gives permission to spend confidently because you know where your income is coming from. And it dramatically reduces emotional risk. You stop reacting to every market headline or downturn because your plan already accounts for it. Understanding your personal retirement income style is what ties all of this together. If you're comfortable with a total return approach, it likely means you also have flexibility built into your plan, maybe through a dynamic withdrawal system or a mix of cash reserves and growth assets that lets you adapt when markets move. Or if you're more aligned with the income protection style, that confidence comes from knowing your basic expenses are covered by reliable sources, your pension, an annuity, or government benefits in the future. That stability makes it easier to spend freely on the things that make retirement meaningful. And both of these approaches, when done intentionally, share the same outcome, peace of mind. It's not about chasing yield or trying to time the markets. It's about understanding your personal income system and using it to support the lifestyle you actually want. That's what separates successful early retirees from those who struggle. It's not necessarily how much money they had, it's how they structured their income to create confidence and control. Okay, so income structure provides the foundation, but the bridge strategy reveals how successful early retirees handle the gap before government benefits. One of the biggest challenges for early retirees, and one of the biggest reasons some fail, is the gap between when they stop working and when government benefits begin. If you retire in your mid to late 50s, there's usually a 5 to 10 year window before CPP and OAS kick in. Those are the bridge years. And how you manage them often determines whether your early retirement stays sustainable. The successful early retirees I've worked with all had a clear bridge strategy, a plan for how to fund their lifestyle intentionally during this period without compromising their long-term income. They built bridge income from a few key sources. Non-registered investments, often used first because of flexible tax treatment. RSP withdrawals, structured strategically to take advantage of lower tax brackets in these early years. TFSAs, which provided tax-free flexibility when extra cash was needed, but taxable income needed to stay in check. And in some cases, part-time consulting or passion projects, again, not because they had to work, but because it kept them engaged and comfortably funded. The key was that none of these withdrawals happened by accident. They were coordinated. These retirees knew that even though they weren't receiving CPP or OAS, they could still spend confidently by using a smart combination of accounts. They treated these bridge years as an opportunity, not a problem. And that opportunity came down to tax planning. By drawing from their RSPs during low-income years, They filled the lower tax brackets intentionally, rather than deferring all that taxable income into their 70s, when RIF minimums would have forced higher withdrawals. At the same time, they balanced those RSP draws with small non-registered withdrawals to keep their total income within the ideal range. This approach didn't just fund their lifestyle, it also reduced the risk of future OAS clawbacks and high marginal rates later on. If you've seen our other video on the order of withdrawals, RRSP versus TFSA versus CPP, this is exactly what we're talking about. The bridge strategy is where that concept comes to life. It's about being intentional with how you use your accounts instead of just defaulting to don't touch RSPs until 71. And it's not about perfection, it's about flexibility and awareness. You can spend freely, enjoy retirement, and still be strategic about taxes. The retirees who did this well had one mindset in common. They viewed their savings as a tool, not a trophy. The goal wasn't to protect the RSP at all costs. It was to use it efficiently while the tax math was on their side. Handled this way, your bridge years can be some of the best years of retirement. Flexible, lower tax, and fully under your control. Bridge strategies handle the benefit gap, but the flexible withdrawal system shows how to optimize taxes and preserve benefits. Once the bridge years are in place, the next step is keeping your plan flexible, and that's where the most successful early retirees really stand out. They understand that no single withdrawal rule or formula can carry them through 30 or 40 years of retirement. Instead, they build flexible withdrawal systems that adapt to tax rates, market conditions, and spending needs as life unfolds. For most, that means coordinating income from multiple sources, using TFSAs and non-registered accounts strategically to manage taxable income each year. TFSAs give them tax-free flexibility when they need extra cash for travel, large purchases, or opportunities where they're bumping their income into a higher tax bracket. Non-registered accounts allow them to fine-tune withdrawals to stay within their ideal tax range while benefiting from favorable capital gains treatment. They also time RRSP withdrawals during lower income years. By drawing from RRSPs earlier, they fill the lower tax brackets intentionally, staying ahead of future OAS security clawbacks and reducing the size of eventual RIF minimums. This approach creates a system that can adapt one where taxes don't control the plan, but the plan controls the taxes. Flexibility is the key theme here. When unexpected expenses come up, they have money available outside of their RSP to handle them without triggering a large tax bill. And when tax laws or personal circumstances change, they can adjust their income sources without disrupting their lifestyle. These actions might seem small in isolation, but together they add up to a sustainable and adaptable retirement system. It's what allows successful early retirees to stay confident and consistent no matter what markets, inflation, or government policy throws their way. Now that you understand the flexible withdrawal system, if you need help with your retirement planning, click the link below to book a call and I'll analyze your specific situation to help you optimize your retirement plan as a whole. Now, if there's one area where even smart retirees get it wrong, it's spending. Most people build their retirement budgets by adding up the obvious bills: property taxes, utilities, groceries, insurance, and assume that number represents what they'll need to spend or what they will spend in retirement. But that approach almost always underestimates the real cost of living. The most successful early retirees take a completely different approach. They don't just track what they owe, they understand what actually flows through their household. Here's how they do it. Instead of itemizing every little expense, they start with the one number that tells the truth: their after-tax cash flow. They look at how much money is landing in their bank account each month, their take-home pay, and recognize that they're spending all of it. That's the cost of their lifestyle. From there, they can identify what will and won't carry into retirement. Things like your RSP or TFSA contributions, maybe mortgage payments, commuting costs, they're going to eventually disappear. But the day-to-day lifestyle spending, travel, dining, home projects, hobbies usually increase because in retirement, well, every day is Saturday. The key is being honest about that reality. The retirees who do this well actually test drive their retirement spending before they leave work. In the year or two leading up to retirement, they separate out any pre-retirement savings and job-related expenses, then see if they can comfortably live on what will become their retirement cash flow. That dress rehearsal does two things. It gives them confidence that their lifestyle is sustainable, and it exposes any surprises before they left their paycheck behind. One of the most common surprises, home maintenance. People often forget about the steady stream of house projects, the furnace replacement, the roof repair, the bathroom update. Those aren't one-time costs. They're part of life. Successful retirees plan for them, not as emergencies, but as recurring expenses. This clarity about actual spending allows them to plan intentionally for different phases of retirement too. Maybe there's a window in their 60s where they want to do more adventure travel or active recreation. That phase might require higher spending, while later years may naturally slow down. The point is, they plan for these transitions instead of hoping they'll somehow spend less later. When we build this cash flow awareness into the plan, retirees feel more confident because the guesswork disappears. They can separate their expenses into non-discretionary, the must-haves, and discretionary, the want-tos. Then they can match their stable income sources, pensions, annuities, future CPP, and OAS to those essential expenses, creating a dependable income floor. The rest can come from more flexible investment withdrawals or TFSAs to support lifestyle goals. This is where the retirement income style really takes shape. For some, it's income protection, knowing the essentials are covered by guarantees. For others, it's total return, confidence that a dynamic withdrawal system will adapt to markets while maintaining flexibility. Either way, the result is the same: clarity and confidence. They know exactly how much it takes to live their life, and they can enjoy their wealth without second-guessing every dollar. Okay, so now we know that spending plans provide confidence, but the market independence strategy shows how successful early retirees avoid timing risks. There isn't just one way to protect your retirement from market timing risk. The most successful early retirees understand that the goal isn't to predict markets, it's to build independence from them. And it starts with structure. Some people use a cash wedge, setting aside 1 or 2 or 3 years of spending in cash or short-term investments. Others prefer a bucket strategy, dividing their money between a defense and an offense bucket. Your defense bucket holds the shorter-term, lower-risk investments that protect income for today and tomorrow. Your offense bucket holds those longer-term growth assets, the globally diversified portfolio of companies, for example, that builds wealth over the decades. Both matter because I hear this concern all the time. Joe, I understand that, globally diversified portfolio will grow over time, but I need income today. And that's exactly why the structure helps. The defense bucket or the cash wedge, a combination, provides stability to fund near-term expenses without worrying about short-term market movements. It's the income protection that lets you sleep at night. Meanwhile, the offense bucket ensures your money continues to grow, keeping up with inflation and maintaining your lifestyle for a retirement that could last 30 or even 40 years if you're an early retiree. It also provides the resources to handle the inevitable spikes later in life, healthcare costs, home maintenance, for long-term care. And to be clear, that's not an investment recommendation, but the point is these successful retirees are being intentional about how they're setting these things up. Now, for retirees who lean toward an income protection style, that structure can feel even more secure. When your essential expenses are already covered by guaranteed income, like pensions or annuities and future CPP and OAS, it's easier to be flexible with the rest. You can spend more freely in strong market years, travel a bit more, and then pull back slightly when markets are weaker, knowing the essentials are always funded. But that doesn't mean this is the only one approach. For others, a total return or bucket approach works beautifully, and it operates on the same principle: build resilience, stay diversified, and rebalance systematically. One way I like to think about this, especially for dynamic withdrawal strategies, is through what I call the guardrail analogy. And full credit to Michael Kitsis on this, who I first heard the analogy from. But when I take my kids bowling, everything is smooth sailing as long as the ball stays down the lane. To keep them happy, we put up the guardrails, and if the ball starts to veer off and hits the guardrail, it comes back to the middle. Flexible withdrawal systems work the same way. When the portfolio performs well and moves towards the upper guardrail, that's your green light to spend a bit more. When it drops towards the lower guardrail because the market declines or large withdrawals, that's a signal to tighten spending until things recover a bit. This system keeps your plan sustainable, without panic, without guesswork. It's an actual plan. It's especially valuable for early retirees because the early years carry the greatest exposure to sequence of returns risk. The danger of poor markets right after you leave work. That's why we often build a larger defense bucket in those first years, enough to fund several years of income without touching equities or your growth bucket. By the time CPP and OAS start, the plan naturally becomes more stable with that higher guaranteed income source. By using these strategies, guaranteed income, cash wedges, bucket structures, guardrail-based withdrawal systems, successful retirees reduce their dependence on market timing. They don't need every year to be perfect. They just need a plan that can adapt. And that's what the market independence really means. Designing your retirement so that markets can do what they do and your lifestyle still stays on track. Now, market independence provides protection, but it's the comprehensive early retirement framework that shows how all these successful strategies integrate. When you step back and look at all these strategies, income structure, bridge planning, flexible withdrawals, market independence, they aren't separate checkboxes. They're part of a single system that works together to support your lifestyle and protect your future. Your retirement income style is what ties this together. It's what determines how you build your income structure in the first place, whether you lean toward income protection with more guaranteed sources or total return with a focus on dynamic withdrawals and growth. Regardless of style, every successful plan includes some version of bridge planning, a clear approach for managing the years before CPP and OAS. Even for those who prefer guaranteed income, where there's still a need for flexible withdrawals to adapt to market and tax realities. And across every approach, the same principles apply. You need independence from short-term market movements, adaptability to changing conditions, and a system that balances your lifestyle today with financial security for tomorrow. This isn't about giving up on your lifestyle to protect your future. It's about aligning your resources so you can enjoy today and stay confident that you'll still have enough tomorrow. For early retirees, that balance is everything. You've got more years to fund, more uncertainty to navigate, and more opportunities to live the life you worked for. That's why the most successful retirees don't rely on one strategy or rule of thumb. They combine these different elements into a coordinated framework that keeps working over time. Being systematic in your approach prevents the small mistakes that can compound over decades. It helps you capture opportunities like low tax withdrawal years or benefit optimization that might otherwise be missed with a set it and forget it plan. When everything fits together, your income style, bridge planning, flexible withdrawals, market independence, you create a system that's resilient and personalized to you. It adapts when life changes, markets shift, or new tax rules show up. And that's what gives successful early retirees the biggest advantage: clarity, confidence, and security, and knowing that their plan can weather whatever comes next. And now that you understand the comprehensive framework, let's look at the implementation roadmap that puts these proven strategies into action. So how do you actually put all of this into action? The first step is to be completely honest about your cash flow and understand your real spending needs. That clarity allows you to set realistic goals and build a plan that actually supports the lifestyle you want. From there, the next step is identifying your retirement income style. Are you someone who values income protection through guarantees and stability? Or do you prefer the flexibility of a total return or a bucket-based approach? Once you understand your style, the rest of the plan falls into place. You can build out your market independence through proper income structure. Whether that's a mix of cash wedge and defense bucket for near term and your growth bucket for long term, or it might also be that guaranteed income piece through pensions or maybe an annuity to provide stability for those basic expenses. The next layer is your bridge and withdrawal planning, the system that carries you from early retirement through the start of CPP and OAS, while keeping your income plan flexible. This is where you map out how you'll fund your lifestyle before government benefits begin, while thinking ahead about how those benefits and future RIF minimums will impact your taxable income down the road. During this stage, you're often drawing more from your portfolio, which may mean having more guaranteed income or a larger defense bucket to keep spending consistent regardless of market performance. It's also where you'll take advantage of flexible withdrawal systems, managing your tax brackets with intentional withdrawals from different account types, such as your RSPs, TFSAs, and non-registered accounts. That coordination keeps your taxes efficient now while preserving room for later flexibility. What we've learned from working with more than 100 Canadian retirees is that success doesn't come from hitting a savings milestone. It comes from having systems and structures in place and understanding how each part of the plan connects. Successful retirees think beyond the size of their portfolio. They think about how their money flows, how it funds their lifestyle, how it reacts to markets, and how it adapts to changing tax rules and personal circumstances. They're mindful of Canadian specific considerations, things like RIF minimums, government benefits, tax rates, and future healthcare planning. They don't leave those details to chance. And perhaps most importantly, they implement their plan strategically and systematically. They review it, adjust it, and they work with professionals who understand Canadian retirement planning as opposed to those doing generic investment management or one-size-fits-all wealth accumulation. That combination of intentional structure, adaptability, and accountability is what transforms a hopeful retirement into a sustainable one. Now that you understand what worked for more than 100 successful Canadian early retirees and how income structure, bridge strategies, and flexible systems create sustainable retirement, you can implement these proven approaches rather than hoping your large portfolios alone will enable early retirement. If you'd like help implementing these comprehensive early retirement strategies, click the link below to book a call and I'll analyze your specific situation to help you optimize your retirement plan, just as we've done for Canadians in several provinces across the country. I'll see you in the next video.